Hello YouTube, welcome back to another not book review video from me, your host Logan Albright. It's July the 5th. I saw the fireworks last night over Washington, D.C. I had a wonderful time for all my American viewers. It's great to celebrate the country and it's great to celebrate independence. And for all my non-American viewers, you don't know what you're missing. But anyway, it being July, it means there's another thing that's happening, which is the semi-annual Barnes & Noble Criterion Collection half-off sale. Now, because the country is stupid, there are no Barnes & Nobles in Washington, D.C. anymore. So I can't actually go to Barnes & Noble. Bookstores are on the way out. And I don't like to order from Barnes & Noble's website because I just don't. I work for them briefly. I'm not a huge fan of the company. And I have all my information and all my rewards points on Amazon. So I shop at Amazon. But fortunately, Amazon will match most of the prices for the half-off sale for the month of July. Not all of them. I couldn't get everything I wanted because some of the things were not half off. So I'm going to wait until they are. And so I ordered a bunch of stuff from Amazon for half off, and I want to go through it now with you and do an unboxing, and we'll talk about all the movies that I'm going to watch. It'll be so much fun. Now, I just received this package. It's in a bag rather than a box, which I'm a little disappointed in. I've heard other people complain about Amazon shipping damaging some of their Criterion releases and reviews. I haven't had that problem really for myself, but this is not the most comforting packaging. So let's open it up and see, make sure everything is intact and looking good. Okay, now this first one is a little bit of a mini box set. It's the Whit Stillman trilogy, Metropolitan, The Last Days of Disco, and Barcelona. I haven't seen any of these films. I only recently found out about them. They are kind of indie 90s films that take place during the 80s and deal with some sort of overeducated, overly affluent Americans, in some cases abroad, in some cases at home, and their lives. I really don't know anything about them. I thought they sounded interesting, so I picked up this box set for a very reasonable price for 3 movies. I think it was $40 for 3 movies for Criterion Blu-rays. That's pretty good. So I'm excited to check those out. I don't really know what to expect, but I always like to discover more kind of indie films and interesting stuff, and that should be fun. And I love the 80s, so what a great decade to explore. Next, we have Close Up by the Persian director Abbas Kiarostami. I've recently become a really, really huge fan of Abbas Kiarostami. My history is not with foreign films is not great. I spent a long time not watching any foreign films, and I've only kind of recently discovered the beauty of a lot of these foreign films after kind of exhausting a lot of the most well-known and popular American directors. And I've really come to love Kiarostami's work. It's sort of minimalist. It sort of blends the lines between documentary and fiction, and I have 4 of his movies on the Criterion. I have 5 of his movies on the Criterion Collection now, and they're all wonderful films. I love them very much. So I wanted to get another one, and this is one of his most critically acclaimed, Close Up. It's a quasi-documentary about someone who is impersonating a film director. I don't really know too much about it other than that, but I know that his style is something that really speaks to me. And I like his kind of minimalist style. I think minimalism is really interesting. And so we'll get more into that in a second. But if you are a fan of experimental cinema, foreign cinema, I can't recommend Kiarostami enough. I think he's incredibly creative and does stuff that no one else is doing. His voice is really unique. So that's a good one. I'm excited to watch that. Next, we have The Manchurian Candidate. This is a movie I've heard about for many years but never seen. And I thought I'd pick it up and watch it. I think Frank Sinatra's in it. It's a good Cold War classic. I always like Cold War films. It should be fun. Here we go. Robert Bresson's A Man Escapes. Now, I learned about Robert Bresson. I was reading an article about minimalist cinema, talking about minimalism, and he was listed as one of the filmmakers who likes to employ this style and do a lot with very little material. And I think that's interesting. I like minimalism in art, I like minimalism in music, and I like minimalism in cinema. So I wanted to get a Bresson film. The one I was looking at is Au Hasard de Balthazar, but that one was not half off on Amazon. So I got this one, which was half off. And this is a escape film about someone trying to escape from prison. And it's in black and white, it's in French, but it's regarded very highly. And I'm excited to learn about this new filmmaker who I've never seen his film before. I think I will enjoy, learning about someone new. And hopefully I'll discover a new favorite director. You never know. Next up, we have a Nicholas Ray film, Bigger Than Life. In my last purchase, I bought a Nicholas Ray film called In a Lonely Place, and I thought it was wonderful. It has Humphrey Bogart in it. This is a movie starring James Mason and involves a husband becoming addicted to prescription medication that causes some very evil side effects in him and causes him to become violent and dangerous and bad. I haven't seen it. All these are blind buys. I want to learn about new films and new filmmakers. Nicholas Ray I thought was great. The description reminds me a little bit of like Requiem for a Dream, which is one of the most upsetting films I've ever seen. I don't know that I ever want to watch Requiem for a Dream again because it's a hard watch, but I think that message is powerful, and James Mason is a great actor, so this should be a lot of fun. Next, we have Night on Earth by Jim Jarmusch. I got this one because in my last purchase, I watched Mystery Train by Jim Jarmusch, and I thought it was wonderful, and it has sort of a similar structure. It's like 3 different connected stories that happen on the same day in the same location. This is several stories that all take place, I believe, in taxi cabs across the world, and all on the same night. And so I think there's multiple languages in this. There's multiple stories. I believe this is a little bit of a divisive film. I saw a lot of negative reviews of it, and I saw a lot of really positive reviews of it. So it's not Jim Jarmusch's most popular film, but some people seem to really love it. So I'm excited to explore more into his filmography and learn about Night on Earth. Next we have The Red Shoes, a Powell and Pressburger classic. This is a movie that's ranked very, very highly as one of the best movies ever made. I've never seen it, but I watched their movie Black Narcissus with my last purchase, and I thought Black Narcissus was a wonderful film. I completely loved it, about these nuns starting a convent in the Himalayas. Like, the Technicolor is gorgeous in it. The cinematography by Jack Cardiff is unbelievable. Great use of color, great use of framing and staging. It was all filmed in a studio in London, but it looks like the Himalayas because they did a lot of like matte paintings and crazy backdrops and stuff. And I love that kind of filmmaking style where it's all artificial, but it's all with practical effects. So it's like, instead of going on location and filming, instead of using CGI, you're going to build all these crazy sets and with matte paintings and miniatures, and you're going to make everything look amazing. I love that style, and I'm excited to see more from that style in The Red Shoes, which is about a ballet dancer and is based on a fairy tale. I've heard it's a Technicolor extravaganza with more cinematography by Jack Cardiff, which I'm really excited to see because I thought that last movie was just amazing. All right, finally for the filmography of Mike Leigh, British director. Meantime, well, I think it's his first feature film, at least released in cinemas. Mike Leigh is one of my favorite directors, British director. He directed one of my favorite movies called Topsy Turvy, about the life of Gilbert and Sullivan. And I've come to love all of his films, and there are 5 films of his, I think, on the Criterion Collection. There's the one I just said, Topsy Turvy. There's Life is Sweet. There's Secrets and Lies. There's Naked, and there's this one. So I've seen all the other ones, and I think they're all great. And so I wanted to watch the last Criterion release from Mike Leigh because I think he's a wonderful filmmaker, and his style is really interesting, and his process is really different. He does months of improvisation with his actors before they film anything to get them to really know their characters and help them come up with their dialogue, and you know, he will then compile the script based on improvisations that they've done. Really unique way of working, and it seems to work out great. There's some good actors in this early in their career. I believe Gary Oldman is in here from an early period in his career, so that should be interesting. All right, continuing on. After Meantime, this is a wild card one, Ministry of Fear by Fritz Lang. Fritz Lang is famous for, of course, Metropolis and M, and I like German expressionist silent films. This is a little bit later one. I think Ray Milland is in it. It's a sound film, and it looks like it's got his trademark kind of German expressionist cinematography. It's about the Second World War and Nazi spies and things like that. It's kind of a paranoid thriller. This was very cheap. It was like it was less than even the half off thing. And so I thought I'd pick it up and watch it. I like Fritz Lang from 1944, but I don't really know that much about it. So that should be fun to watch. Oh, is there only one more? There's only one more. All right, what's last? Oh, The Hidden Fortress by Akira Kurosawa. Now, I've seen one other film by Akira Kurosawa, which is Seven Samurai. And Seven Samurai is hailed as like the greatest movie ever made by a lot of people, then one of the top ones. And the first time I watched it, I had a hard time getting into it. I thought it was very long and kind of slow, and like the tropes in it are so well worn because it's been so copied so many times that I had a hard time like really seeing what was special about it or what was great about it. I then watched it again and I warmed up to it a lot, and I now think it's a great film. It is still very long and a little bit hard to sit through in one sitting, but I think it's a great film. The Hidden Fortress, I wanted to see because it is often cited as one of the primary influences on George Lucas's Star Wars. George Lucas saw this film and thought, I need to do that in outer space. And so I want to see it. I think it's interesting for film history to know where things come from. It's a little bit shorter, and I think it'll be a little bit easier and more easier to watch than Seven Samurai. It's a little bit later in his filmography, so probably a little bit less primitive, a little bit more advanced. And I've heard it's just a rollicking, good adventure story. I'm not super into Japanese cinema. I'm trying to learn more about it, but I have a lot of other filmmakers to explore and a lot of other films to explore. Like I want to see Rashomon at some point because that's so famous. But for now, I think The Hidden Fortress will be a perfect next step after Seven Samurai to get into Kurosawa and to get into these samurai films and learn about some of the history of adventure cinema and where these influences came from. So that should be fun. So there you go. That's my 10 purchases. I spent entirely too much money, but I had a lot of Amazon rewards that I could cash in to make it a little bit less expensive, a little bit more affordable. But I always like to take advantage of these sales when I can because Criterion is such a beautiful boutique label that puts out such great products. And it's really a good way for me to expand my film library and learn about new films and new filmmakers that I otherwise would not have seen. The curation is so good. I can trust that almost everything they put out is going to be good. I've only had like maybe 2 disappointments in my collection, which maybe if I get up to like 5 disappointments at some point, I'll do a bottom 5 list of Criterion movies. But I just wanted to share that with you guys. I'll be back again next week with a book review, I promise. But in the meantime, I'd like to know what you think. What are your favorite Criterion releases? What did you pick up this July, if you picked up anything? What do you think of the movies that I chose? Did I make wise choices? Did I make unwise choices? Please let me know in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this little Blu-ray haul video, feel free to like the video, subscribe to the channel, click the bell for notifications, and come back next week for another video, which will be a book review, I promise. Until next time, I've been your host, Logan Albright. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you later.